Hello and welcome to ESL Revolution, everyone. I'm your content creator and professor, Dr. B. Not a real doctor. I hope you're all doing very well. You've recovered from New Year's Day, I'm sure. I hope everything is going very, very well for you today. And we are back, of course, covering Operative Medicine, the Operative Medicine line, which I'm going to bring up right here in our combat proficiencies. Okay, Operative Medicine line. So this is the second part of the Imperial Operative that I wanted to put out for you to give you a sense of what this class is, what it does, how it works. Simply because there really is not a whole lot of video guide material out there, and I wanted to put this together. A big shout out to Sortor Merlin, who originally put this written guide together, who I had contact with by email, and he said, sure, go ahead, use my guide as the basis of the video. So a big shout out to Merlin. Thank you so much for all of your efforts. It's great to have that out there, and as a resource, this is just another medium by which that resource is going out there. I have also put the Scoundrel Sawbones videos up in the operative scoundrel link in the Swartor forums. So they're also videos are also public as well. In the first video, we covered a basic overview of the class, and today we are going to get into two different things. We're going to talk about the utilities that we should use and what those passives are. Now, of course, the passives are only going to all be there for you by the time you hit level cap. So please keep in mind that not all of these passives will be there for you as you are leveling up. Okay, let's jump right into it as well. Let's go to our proficiencies. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna do the utilities first, and then we're gonna jump over and talk about our passives. Okay, so as you can see here, we have three tiers. We have skillful, masterful, and heroic. We're gonna need three utilities in each area in order to move to the next tier. Okay, and heroic tier is your max. You can see that we have a total of 9 points to spend, and of course these utility points allow us to do some additional tweaking, I guess you could say, in terms of what we can do as a healer. So let's look at this first skillful line here. There are three. So here's the first one. We have Nanotech Suit. Passive reduces all area of effect damage taken by 30%. You are going to, obviously in PvE situations, you are going to run across area of effect damage, AoE damage. So being able to have that, that reduction in damage is obviously going to help you. So this is a defensive passive. Also, the second is Chem resistant Inlays. This is your second passive, and this increases damage reduction by 5%. Now this here is limited to AoE damage only. This one here, Chem resistant Inlays, is all damage that you take. Everything, all damage, doesn't matter what it is, all damage is reduced by 5%. So those are two particularly nice skills that you have as well. The rest of these are more oriented, to be quite honest, to a PvP scenario, these 5. So I've just opted by putting my movement speed increased while stealthed. The stealth level by 3, it's not going to do anything. but really these other ones don't really help us out, to be quite honest. Okay, so that's the 3 there for the skillful. Masterful, let's get into this one. Our first one, Medshield. Your shield probe heals you for 5% of your max health when it collapses. Now, as you know, here's our Medshield down here. This is a 10-second skill. It's cooldown for 25 seconds. It absorbs 23,000 damage. So if we hit this one, and there's the... Let me just get rid of that there so you can see it a bit better. That's the skill there, and that's reducing damage. Boom. And now at the end of that cycle, we get that little heal top off at the end of it, which is nice, because obviously if we were in the midst of using that skill, we were probably taking damage, and that just gives us a little bit to top ourselves off with. So it's a nice little skill at the end there. Again, it's kind of double defensive, I guess, because you've got the negation of damage, plus you have that little heal top off. So it's a nice little thing to have, I think. Again, you can see these first 3 of 4 are fairly defensive in nature. This one right here, Fortified Culto. While your Culto probe is active on yourself, your damage reduction is increased by 3% per stack. So this is interesting because this actually kind of combines with this one. So the Chem resistant inlays, we've got 5%. Now if I do this here, now I have essentially the 6% on me plus the 5%. I'm now running at 11% damage reduction if I have those Culto probes on me. So it's definitely helpful. And of course, we can even yet do more by hitting our shield probe. So now we've got the shield probe and the defensives going. And also, of course, if we've got AoE, now we have AoE reduction going on. That's 30%, plus we have the 6, plus we have the 5 here. So we have 41% damage reduction in terms of our AoEs. So that's, again, when you combine these skills together, it's definitely well worth it. So in the midst of something, in the midst of a fight, keep that Culto probe on you. And it's also a very good way of seeing, like, if you've put the Culto probe on you, you can see it's a pretty big animation floating around you. And when that animation is, you know, basically gone, you know it's time to put that back onto you. So it's a good visual way of seeing that you need to reapply. And also, if it's on somebody else, right? So if I, let's see, let's say I'm over here, and let's pick Vector here. So Vector, I've got it Vector. It's on Vector as well. And so I'm going to be able to see him, obviously, because I can see the green. But as my cooldown is, you can see it's kind of running down. It's about a third now. Okay, it's almost ready to go. If I hit that one and I go back there and I refresh Vector, that gives me, that maintains their damage resistance. Okay, so that one global cooldown provides 6% for me, and it provides 6% for the other person as well. So definitely a nice skill to be considering. Okay, let's go back to my main room here. Where was I? I was over by the computer terminal. Here we go. Okay, there we go. The last one here in the Masterful line, this is Evasive Screen. When activated, Cloaking Screen grants 2 seconds of evasion. Okay, so evasion, this is evasion here, and this is my dodge. I dodge melee and ranged attacks for 200 seconds for 3 seconds. Okay, so when activated, my Cloaking Screen, which is this one right here, gives me this one on top of it. It adds it together. So this means that when I am in combat, I can hit this skill, and there it is, right there. Okay, so you saw that little green. It goes really fast. It goes really fast, but this allows me to break combat, and this is effective if I need to do a resuscitation. All right, let's say one of my compatriots has fallen in combat, and I want to res them. I can hit that, break my combat. It will give me dodge for a very quick amount of time just to negate any possible damage, and hit that resuscitation probe, and I can res them up. Okay, so that's how that one works there. Okay, moving right along here into our last tier. This is heroic. Evasive imperative. Every time you get attacked, the active cooldown of your evasion, which is this one right here, this is your damage bubble, it is reduced by 3 seconds. So every time I get attacked, every time I get hit with something, that gets reduced down 3 seconds. And it can only occur every 1.5 seconds. So, sorry, I'm having a coffee here too. So as I'm taking damage, this cooldown is going to drop by 3 seconds. Now, if I get hit 10 times, that drops me down essentially to 30 seconds. To put that in a number, so it allows us to use evasion a lot more if we are getting attacked. Okay, and if we are, again, we've got these other defensive skills here that we can use to negate that damage while we're waiting for evasion to occur. Okay, so that is evasive imperative. You can see here that a lot of these passives are defensive in nature. That is okay. Escape plan, passive, reduces cooldown of escape by 30 seconds, shield probe by 5%, infiltrate by 60 seconds. Okay, so we have our escape, escape by the shield probe. Okay, so the shield probe's there. Now this is originally a 30-second skill. It now gives it to 25 seconds, which is great. Infiltrate is... Where is my infiltrate skill? Hang on. Let me find that, because I might have... I just... infiltrate, right. Okay, this one right here. Sorry, I forgot that it was on there. So this one here, infiltrate, by... What is it? Reduced by 60 seconds? So yeah, it reduces by 60 seconds. So this one here, this... provides me a, you can see here that hex squares here. If I need to move team members through an area, this allows them to go invisible for a short period of time. I think it lasts like 10 seconds or something like that, 12 seconds. So this reduces the cooldown of that use. Okay. Okay, and our last one here, Curative Agent. Countermeasures grants Curative Agent, causing your next Culto probe on a new target to immediately grant 2 stacks. Okay. Oh, wait. Countermeasures. Yes. Okay, so there's our countermeasures. Now, countermeasures is used as a threat reduction. Okay. So, if you're noticing that we start taking some damage, we might want to reduce that damage by lowering our threat. As healers, we gain threat pretty easily. But, so, Kaleo here, I haven't had anything on. So I'm going to, you can watch right here. Okay, so I'm going to hit this button. Now, let me just do this here. Let me show you. Let's use a Treek over here. So you see, I've got no countermeasures going on. And I have to do 1, 2. Okay, so now I have 2 Culto probes on Treek. Now, if I go over here and to Kaleo and I hit my countermeasures, which it reduces my threat, I've got that active. You see how this highlights? Boom. Now this instantly gives me two cultos on Kaleo. Now, of course, this can be used on yourself too. If you haven't put them on yourself first, that is very handy. You'll also notice that when I use that skill, when I use countermeasures, it gives me a little healing tick. And that tick is 1% of my max health for 10 seconds. Okay? And the Culto Infusion, which is this skill right here, this restores 10 to 12,000 health, plus gives me a little heal over time. So this countermeasures skill, this curative agent, is very, very handy in popping some stuff off for us. Now, even if we are not in a position where we're taking a lot of damage, let's say, using this and using this together can be very, very effective at kind of getting ourselves caught up in heals if we need to. And it's going to provide that protective heal for us as well, because if we have taken damage, that allows us to kind of top up our own health as well. And you'll also see here, okay, so there's the ticks there, and I'm going to do this as well. Okay, so there's that. And now I want my Culto Infusion. All right, so that's... Okay. So that is, you see, Curative Jolt. Surgical Probe increases crit chance, so I can do this. Boom, I can do this. And injection. Okay. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but I just wanted to show you that. Actually, that's going to be in our next video. Okay, so those are the utilities that I'm using. Now, let's talk a little bit more about some of the additional passives that we have here. Incisive Action reduces the activation time of Culto Injection by 0.5 seconds and allows it to grant a tactical advantage. Now, these ones right here, TAs, these are quite important because they provide us the ability to use certain skills in combat. So the Culto Injection right here, you can see that this is 0.86 seconds. So the reduction of 0.25%. So if I hit this one, it just speeds up the Culto, and you'll notice that it gives me a tactical. Okay, if I do that, now I have 2. Now I have 3. Okay, and that allows me to use some of these other skills that don't use power, but they use tactical advantages. So you want to be able to keep up those tactical advantages as much as possible. Now you'll see that I have 4 TAs now, and that comes with the gear that I have. I will talk about that at another time. So this is a very, very nice skill. Yes, it's a kind of a wind-up skill, right? Like I need to have a little bit of time to do that, but can be effective. Let's see. Okay. Another passive, this is for my Diagnostic and Culto waves. Diagnostic is this one right here. Now, this skill doesn't give me much by way of health, but what it does do is it allows me to regen energy, okay? You don't see that in the toolbar, okay? It's not there, but this is a way for me to regen my energy. So this is a skill that we're going to be talking about in our next video as well. Surgical Steadiness passive reduces the pushback suffered while activating healing abilities by 70% and reduces threat generated by heals by 10%. In addition, expending all charges of Exfiltrate grants Unshakable for 4 seconds. So this is a pretty big passive. It does a lot. Okay, so let's go through this. So if I am in a situation where I'm activating a healing ability, like my Culto injection here. Okay, that's an activation. Now, 70% of the possibility, I get a 70% chance that if there's a knockback, I won't be knocked back. All right, a pushback or a knockback. Okay, so that is very, very handy. Also, we have a reduced threat by 10% caused by all of our healing, and exfiltrate grants unshakable. Okay, now here's my unshakable. Now, or sorry, this is my exfiltrate. Now, what I need to do is I need to use both skills at the same time. When rolling, your chance to dodge melee attacks is increased by 30%, does not break stealth, cannot be used while immobilized. Exfiltrate has 2 charges, okay? So you can see that little 2 right there. Okay, you see that? Okay, now if I hit 2, 1, 2, now I have this right here, cannot be interrupted. So what does this mean? This means that I can use my, let's say, I'm going to wait for that to come back. I'm going to use this 1, 2, and I can use this one here. And so in that time frame, I could use my Culto injection, which means that I can get off something and I can't be interrupted. So that's a good little combo skill there to have, to keep that in mind. Exiting stealth grants 2 stacks of tactical advantage. Additionally, Diagnostic Scan can now be channeled while moving. Okay, now this is really important. Every combat that you go into, you should be starting in stealth. Everything. Because as a healer, we're going to have 2 tactical advantages right off the bat to allow us to use our big heals for free. What do I mean by that? Okay, there's my stealth, and I'm going to break out. Boom. No power there. Well, it's energy 5, energy 20, energy 20. Okay, but I can only use them using tactical advantage. So I'm going to use this one. Use this one. I'm going to use this one. And then I'm going to use this one. Or I'm going to use this one. I'm going to wait for my stuff to come back. I'm going to hit this one. That's going to come back. I'm going to use this one. Okay. So by allowing us to be in combat before we're in combat, and we're in stealth, and then we jump out of stealth when we hit combat. This can be very, very effective, just to give us that 2 tacticals. Of course, we do have 4 available to us, which is really nice, but to start off with 2 is very, very handy. That means we don't have to work up to get those 2. They're just automatically there. Diagnostic Scan can also be channeled while moving. So here's the channel there. Okay, now if I'm moving, now I can run around. I can get out of. So this means that Diagnostic Scan will always, I can always be using, excuse me, I can always be using that skill while I'm moving. So it's really handy to have. Let's see, where's our other passive? Here we go. Toxic Scan now removes negative mental effects and heals the target for 3,000 to 5,000. Okay, so here's my Toxic Scan. This is my cleanse. Okay. So let's go here. If let's say Kaleo's my partner and I hit that cleanse, now you see that she gets that 7,000. Okay, so that provides, so that one critted nicely a little bit there, gave me an extra 2,000. So as soon as I hit that, and I want this one, boom. Okay, so it gives a little top off, which is nice. Passive. Each tick of Culto Waves, Culto Probe, and Recuperative Nanotech has a 10% chance to grant tactical advantage. Again, anything that you do to get more tactical advantage is really handy. So this one here, boom, got one. This one here, and what was our other one? Nanotech, Culto Probe, and Culto Probe. This one here. So anytime we use these skills, we have the potential of getting more tactical advantage just by, see, now I've used those skills, now I'm at 4. So that's definitely a good thing to be using, because we want to maintain those tactical advantages and be able to use some of our big heals. Patient studies increases the speed at which Diagnostic Scan channels by 30%. Okay, so it just speeds up how fast that is. That's really important because remember, Diagnostic Scan is not necessarily a healing skill, but allows us to regen energy. So the faster we do that, the faster we can get off and actually doing our skills. And you also a critical Diagnostic Scan heal restores two additional energy. So not only are we using this here, there's a crit right there. So not only are we using this skill to regen our energy, but when it does crit like that one, we get an additional 2 points. Medical therapy, energy cost of recuperative nanotech is reduced by 5. Okay, so that's recuperative nanotech right there. It's originally at 20 energy, now it's 15. And it provides invigorated for 45 seconds. Invigorated targets receive 3% more healing from all sources. So if I hit this, okay, there is invigorated. So Kaleo's heals are increased by 3% as I'm doing them. So it's just, and that is for everybody who got hit with recuperative nanotech in the first place. It's it has a, yeah, it's a 10-meter area. All right, it's a 10-meter area. So if everybody's kind of bunched up and you're healing, then all of those people are going to get it. So it's very, very nice that way. Let's see. Surgical probe executes your tactical advantage to summon a probe that instantly heals the target, requires and consumes tactical advantage. Okay, so this is surgical probe right here. So this is an instant heal. Okay, so if I am, let's say I'm gonna use my Culto here. That would be the surgical probe executes. Okay, so you can see that 15. That's very nice. So you can see that it makes it an instant skill, and it allows me to use tactical advantage. This one is very good as well because it only has 5 power. Okay, so it's very, very cheap to run in terms of a skill. Moving right along, let's see what time are we on. Okay. Durable meds increases the duration of recuperative nanotech by 3 seconds. So this goes from basically it increases the amount of time that this will pop for. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see that it's going for quite a bit longer. Okay, so that's a nice. I mean, anything that allows us to heal longer for less is great. Surgical precision increases the max stack limit of tactical advantage by 1. Okay, so we now have this is a part of our gearing set, which I'm going to talk about in our next video. But this one here does allow us to have a maximum of 4 tactical advantages, and surgical probe basically gives us back our tactical. So we use a tactical, but we get it back. So this one here is essentially tactical neutral. And at 5 energy, it's very, very low cost. We can hit our Culto injection. That will give us a tactical. I'm going to use this one. And guess what? I still have 1 left, even though I used it. Okay? So that is very, very handy to have. It means that we're basically using something for free. Accomplished. Doctor increases the critical healing bonus of Culto injection and Culto infusion by 10%. Okay, so if we crit on those, we get more in it, so we get 10% above the crit. In addition, healing a target with surgical probe or Culto infusion will refresh the duration of your Culto probe on that target. Okay, now what does that mean? So let's say I have, let me just see here. So I want to have, I'm going to put 2 on here. Okay, so we've got the 2 running down. And we want my Culto infusion. This one right here. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Okay. Now, it's almost out. Now I'm going to hit this. Boom. And without me having to hit the Culto probe, it automatically refreshes that too. So that, again, is a nice little combination that we can do. And this again, and boom, got it too. So not only am I hitting her with a bigger skill, I'm also allowing that Culto probe to maintain itself. So I'm doing 2 things for the same price, essentially. So two activities for 1 global cooldown. Increases the crit chance of Culto probe by 3%. Additionally, Culto infusion makes it target resistant for 45 seconds. Resist targets have their elemental and internal damage reduction increased by 3%. Okay, so this will let, if I'm using infusion, this skill right here, their damage is reduced. Moving right along. Tactical medicine. Executing a tactical advantage with a healing ability increases all healing done by 3% for 6 seconds. Okay, so if I use a tactical advantage skill, it will increase all of my healing for 6 seconds. In addition, the range of toxic haze is increased by 30 meters. Now, this one here, toxic haze, is normally, I think, a 10-meter range. For us right now, using the gear that we're using, toxic haze is a damage skill, okay? But there is another set that we're going to talk about later that actually transfers toxic haze into a healing skill. But we're not going to talk about that right now, but it is coming up. Where was I here? Culto waves. Oh, that's not a passive. Increases duration of Culto probe by 3 seconds. Additionally, Stim Boost grants enduring Culto when activated, making your next Culto infusion or injection activate instantly. Okay, now here's my Stim Boost right here. So if I hit that, let me just go into stealth. Okay, I've got 2 tacticals. Great. I'm going to hit my Stim Boost. Boom. Now you see these ones here? I now have a little thing around it. Boom. Now these are active. These are instant skills, so there's no channeling on those. They just pop right away, which is great. That's on a 1-minute cooldown. So that's kind of a nice little emergency thing to have, definitely. Last passive, Curative Jolt. Culto infusion grants Curative Jolt, increasing the crit chance of your next surgical probe by 100%. This can occur once every 18 seconds, okay? There's nothing that we have to do about this. This is just built into it. So every 18 seconds, we get a guaranteed crit with Culto infusion, which is this skill right here. Go into it. Come back, and there's the crit. Let's see if I can get another one here. Okay, now you see I didn't get one there because that is, remember, it's only 18 seconds. So I'm going to maintain my tactical advantage. So, yeah, so that's where it goes. Okay, so that's the overview of utilities and passives. That's what we bring to the game, literally and figuratively. I do hope this has been helpful. We're going to do one more video, and that is going to be focused specifically on the gearing choices and our rotation and energy management. Those are the three next things that we're going to talk about. So stay tuned for those videos. Thanks very much, everybody. I hope you have a great day. We will be around very, very shortly for our next video. May the Force be with you. See you next time.